Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast. So I said at the end of my last video, you better be ready for the first DVD I'm showing today. It's actually a movie that, I promised myself I wouldn't swear on this YouTube channel, and I'm not going to. So I'm just going to show you the title since I can't actually say it. Alright. Also known as Apocalypse Meow. Get it? So yeah, this one, Packy and Botaski are members of a private military company, a new form of mercenary system. Somewhere in a desert region, they are on a rescue mission, and due to the circumstances, they must enter combat immediately. This anime film is... How long is this? I think it's like 22 minutes long. It's pretty short. But, this is what we got going on, okay? It's a 22-minute long movie. And what it does is... it depicts characters as different animals, according to their nationality. This could end badly, but I'm going to tell you what the nationalities are. At least per the manga. I don't remember if all of these animals necessarily show up in this movie or not. I really should watch this movie about once a week is what I should do, because it's great. It's just great for the soul, this thing. So here we go. The Americans in this movie are shown as rabbits. The Vietnamese, cats. The French, pigs, in reference to truffles. The Chinese, pandas. The Japanese, chimpanzees or gorillas. Russians are depicted as bears. Koreans depicted as dogs. The British are depicted as rats, I guess a reference to the desert rats. And Australians are depicted as, of course, kangaroos or koalas. Now, I don't think all of those animals necessarily show up in this 20-minute film, but this was based on a manga. And the manga apparently does have all of those animals, and a few more. So yeah, this movie's pretty freaking hilarious. I mean, you got a bunny rabbit, two bunny rabbits. Okay, and get this one. You know what the term for rabbit is in Japanese? Usagi. U-S-A-G-I. Get it? There's a lot of things to get in this movie. So yeah, this is hilarious, and it is packed with action. Like, there's a huge battle that occurs that basically takes up, 15 out of the 20-minute runtime. And the funny thing with this is that the action physics is realistic. Like, if you replace this with, like, human characters, it could be like a recruitment video for a special forces team. I'm not joking. Like, the physics are realistic, even though it's animals, like human-sized animals that are doing all the damage. So yeah, if you're interested in something that's really kind of out there and almost wrong in any number of ways, check out Apocalypse Meow, also known as... Now, apparently, they were going to make like a whole season of these. The first one, I think, made money, and it got some awards, because the animation's actually really good. But they haven't made one since, and this came out like 6 or 7 years ago, so I don't think we're going to get another one, unfortunately. But, man, I could watch that one every week. Alright, the next one here is called The Chain of Flowers. Now, the reason I blind bought this is because you got... Who are the actresses in this here? You got Miki Nakatani, who's really good, and Erika Toda, who's really good as well. Of course, Miki Nakatani, I think, was in the film Train Man, which is a very good movie, and Erika Toda was in the Death Note films. And this one, I gotta check my notes on this one, because I really don't remember it very well. The Chain of Flowers. Yeah, I did not give it a pass grade. Let's see why here. Alright, so this is a made-for-television film. Focuses on some women and a mysterious acquaintance known only as Kay. Very soap opera-ish stuff with thin writing and cheesy melodrama. Yeah, so even though there's some good actresses in it, yeah, Chain of Flowers I did not like, so I obviously don't recommend it. very rare, obscure film anyway. But just in case you see it, I wouldn't bother. Alright, our next film here is one of my favorites. It's a Kiyoshi Kurosawa film. I did not cover it in my Asian Horror Year in Review playlist because I consider this to be more of a drama with a little bit of horror sprinkled in. It's Charisma. The first time I saw this, I fell asleep while watching it, but that's because I watched it at midnight and I was already dead tired. So I kind of inaccurately projected that onto the film, saying that it was a boring film. Then I went back to it like a few years later, and it's awesome. I mean, it moves as slow as molasses in January, but it's such a different type of film. You basically have this cop who screws up a hostage situation. He gets put on leave, and instead of just going home, he just walks around the surrounding forest. Just because he can't deal with anything right now. He doesn't want to go home and deal with anything. He comes across this village, kind of like a community of people, and they're in conflict over a tree. It's the guy who owns the tree or looks after it calls it Charisma. Now this tree is apparently destroying the surrounding environment, but so a lot of the people want to just destroy the tree to save the forest. But the guy who's protecting the tree doesn't. He wants to keep the tree alive. So this cop shows up, and he has to kind of pick a side, because he's got a gun. He's the only one in the whole area who has a gun. So if he picks a side, the side's probably going to win this contest. It's a very weird movie. It's kind of creepy in spots, for sure. It's philosophical. I'm gonna do a full-length review of this. I have to. There's, it touches upon false dichotomies, which means, you're given two choices, but maybe there's a third. It focuses on the interaction between the individual human being and society as a whole. So I will do a spoiler review of this at some point in the future. This has an interview with the director, making of documentary, trailers, and an essay from Tom Mess from Midnight Eye. So, yeah, I love watching this in like January or February, like this time of year. I need to rewatch it again this year. So, I love this movie. But I can see why a lot of people might not. And now we get to the older version and the crappier version of Real Onigokko. Now, Real Onigokko, I don't even think this DVD... Sorry about that. I don't think this DVD has subtitles on it. I bought it because it was like a thriller with Mitsuki Tanamura in it. And I'll watch Mitsuki Tanamura in anything. So in a parallel world, a deadly game is played in which every person named Sato is hunted down and killed. When Tsubasa Sato finds himself trapped in this world, he must evade the hunters while protecting the alternate version of his sister. So this sounds like a pretty neat, fast-paced thriller. No, it isn't. I don't think I even covered this in my Asian Horror Year in Review playlist. Because it was pretty terrible. I think I remember in this one that the characters just kept running around, and it was a really boring depiction of chase scenes. Let's see what my notes say here. First and foremost, the specifics behind the premise make no sense whatsoever. Why is any of this happening again? This is what my notes say. Second, the chase scenes are about as boring as humanly imaginable, with nothing in terms of variety or novelty. The camera basically shows a few people running straight ahead in an open road until someone is caught. Low quality crap, is what my notes say. So, the reason why I say this is the older, crappier version of Real Onigokko is because Sion Sono's recent film, Tag, has the alternate title, Real Onigokko, and that movie's way better than this. And I will be covering that in my Asian Horror Year in Review playlist when we get to like 2015. So yeah, poor Mitsuki Tanamura, she can't save this one. It is not good. Apparently there was like 4 or 5 directed DVD sequels or something. I didn't even bother with that. Alright, this one was a blind buy. Again, very actress driven, because this one has Erika Sawajiri, who I really like. It also has, who Who is this? Doesn't even have his name in it. The bad guy from The Wailing, or the alleged bad guy from The Wailing. The old Japanese man is in this. And Erika Sawajiri. So, this one is about an owner of a watch shop at a local shopping street. A lady visits him with an old wristwatch that she wants to repair. And this guy learns that this girl is his former girlfriend's daughter. So they strike up a friendship, and things go from there. This is a pretty good movie. You know, it is, kind of a lower budget, more simplistic film. But I remember it being good. It's well acted. And, obviously, Erika Sawajiri is a very good actress. Yeah, really, my notes are just pretty basic. It's just a good overall film, good dialogue. The relationship develops well. Again, kind of a rare film that's not easy to find, but hey, if you come across it and you can watch it, feel free to check it out. Alright, our next film here is another one that I did not cover in my Asian horror playlist for a variety of reasons. This is a Sion Sono film, of course. And this is one that was kind of in his era of being, he was kind of in a bad mood for a while. You know, after Love Exposure, he made a few films that were, pretty nasty, violent films. This is one of those. That is, of course, Cold Fish. Now, Cold Fish, I do have some problems with this, but I do think it's a good movie. Basically, it's about a timid, repressed family man who becomes involved with a murderous businessman. This has a slow build-up, a basic plot. I did think that the runtime was a bit too long. I thought the ending was a bit ridiculous as well. I found this film to be a bit superficial and shallow, but it's still entertaining. You know what I mean? If some people really didn't like this, I can understand why. But Sono has a talent. This director has a talent for blending like perverted elements with traditional filmmaking qualities like good direction and acting. The one actress who really impressed me in this was Asuka Kurosawa from A Snake of June. She plays like this psychotic, sadistic wife, and she does a very good job. In fact, I would say that this film is watching for Asuka's performance alone. Like, she's that good. You know, it gets pretty violent at times, in typical Sono fashion. It's a bit mean-spirited at times, but it's worth watching. A lot of people like this more than me, and I've only seen it one time, so you know how that is. Usually, if I watch a movie again, I will like it more, usually, than I did the first time. Now, this DVD has exclusive interviews with a journalist, with the script writers, and it's got a trailer, so not too many special features, but, check out Cold Fish. This is one of the more popular Japanese thrillers of recent years. I just think it's a little bit on the shallow side. Now, something that's not on the shallow side is this bad boy right here. Let me take it out of its slipcase here if I can. And that is Confessions. Now, this is another one where I'm going to do a full review at some point in the future on this YouTube channel. And this is a film by Tetsuya Nakashima, who directed World of Kanako, Kamikaze Girls, and some other films. It takes place subsequent to a murder perpetuated by middle school students and focuses on the emotional psychological effects on the students and parents in conjunction with the complex act of vengeance that follows the incident. So this film really is spectacularly directed and acted. Really, really outstanding visuals in this. It's a bit fragmented. You got to pay attention to what's going on to get everything. But it's got some dark moments too. Pretty dark. This director really didn't go dark until, I think, this movie. think it was this movie where he really got dark, and he does a great job of it. So yeah, Confessions is quite outstanding. I'll have to rewatch it and do a full review of it. I think I did a review of World of Kanako, though, if you wanted to check that out. But yeah, check this out. This is one of the best Japanese films in general of the past 10 years, in my opinion. It's totally worth seeking out, and I think it's pretty easy to find. Okay, our next film here is, again, another one I'm going to cover on the Asian horror playlist. It's from our good friend Koji Shiraishi, the director of Noroi. This one is Cult. Now, this one I think is pretty underappreciated. It's a found footage horror film. It's got some pretty weird segments in it, or not segments, but special effects, I should say. The director here likes to mix things up in terms of how ghosts are portrayed. In this one, you have like entities that are portrayed as almost like spiritual bugs, and they're caught on camera. And it's kind of weird. You know, it's almost like it's very otherworldly, like the type of supernatural effects that you see, but I think it really works in this. This is not a case where Shiraishi's special effects hurt him. Eventually you get like this exorcist who comes in, who's just awesome. He's got an attitude, and there's a good reason for it. The dude can kick some rear end. I'll cover this in my Asian horror playlist, but I really like this one. I think it's really entertaining. Cult. Not to be confused with Occult, which he also directed from 2009. Alright, this one I did cover in my Asian horror playlist. My favorite Japanese movie of all time from any genre. And that is Cure. You know, some people really just don't like this movie. Again, it's just the way Kiyoshi Kurosawa and Shinya Tsukamoto, both of these guys, a lot of people don't like their movies, but I don't know, they just do it for me. This is the one about the serial killing hypnotist who just drifts around and basically hypnotizes people, and then later they kill their loved ones or acquaintances or coworkers, and the detectives are trying to figure out what's going on. Check out my mini review in my Asian horror playlist from, I think, 1997, that video. There's some scenes in this that'll go right over your head if you're not paying attention. This one you really gotta watch Cure alone in your house, turn the lights out. It's kind of a creepy film, and pay attention to the details, because there's a lot of great scenes that you will miss what's going on if you're not paying attention. Now, the DVD features on this one, you got interview with the director, a filmography, some notes, trailers, not really that many special features, but it's worth picking up. And finally, we have another horror film. Actually, we might be able to get one more in. Cursed Death and Spirit from Hideo Nakata. This was one from the early 90s, I think. I covered this in my Asian horror playlist. Didn't really think it was all that good. It's just kind of, kind of mediocre. It's an anthology. Check out my review if you want more details. And we have another horror film that I'll breeze through here, and that is Cursed. Now, this one I did like. This one gets mixed reviews online. Some people don't really think it's that interesting. This is quite different, though. I really think this is a bit different from a lot of horror films. It has kind of an element of black humor to it, too, that I really liked. It's the one about the convenience store girl who experiences all this weird stuff that's related to the convenience store. And I rewatched it before I did my review of it. So check out my 2004, I think this came out, video on my Asian horror playlist. So that's good for tonight. Making some decent progress. It's going to take a little while, though. So, until next time, I'll see you later.